One of the most criticized parts of modernity is art. Art, like the rest of society, changed in the 19th century. With those changes came a clear break from the past. Just as industrialization marked a break from the past, just as French revolutionary ideas marked a break from the past, modern art deviated from conventional standards and people lost their minds. Debates around art probably generate a lot of outrage because we hold it dear to us. Art is often called a mirror for the soul, that art helps us look inside ourselves and present ourselves to others. And so debates around art often become disproportional to their relative impact on practical everyday life. But one of the things we can see as art evolved in the 19th century was the difference in perceptions, the difference in valuing perception. Traditional society, 19th, at the beginning of the 19th century, valued objectivity, that art should be as faithful to the object it represents as possible. That had been an incredible skill coming out of the Renaissance, the ideas of linear perspective, the ideas of physical anatomy that you get with Michelangelo's David. That skill of objectivity was valued and still is valued as the ability to represent or represent an objective truth or an objective reality. But as we saw with the development of modern thought, 19th century intellectuals started valuing relativity, that art becomes a subjective presentation, that the person viewing decides what it means, and the artist decides what it means, so that two people can look at the same object and present it in different ways. And in particular, if you're looking at something like a tree doesn't always have to be green. It could be a purple tree, or in the case of Rodrigue, it could be a blue dog. It doesn't have to represent or represent an object. Art is relative. There are also significant changes that come around the subject matter. In traditional art, the subject is something that happens in the past. The subjects of the art are often heroes. And those heroes, more often than not, if they're not political heroes, then they're religious heroes. And even with political heroes, we know that from the idea of divine right absolutism, that the best heroes are those that are chosen by God to send out, someone like Moses, right? A religious political figure who lays down the law long time ago. So the subject of traditional art is something that happened in the past. It's a heroic event. It changes humanity in some way, and it's involved the direct intervention of God in human affairs. On the other hand, modern art looks at present situations. Sometimes it's even a momentary situation, a moment, looking at the common experience. The people in modern art don't have to be that special. And then often the object or the subject of that art is secular, it's worldly, it's material. And this is really what gets people upset, because it's sexual, right? Instead of religious. Present common, secular versus past hero religious. This is one way of looking at and evaluating and understanding modern art. So what I'd like to do is just go through some various examples of how this plays out over the course of the 19th century. So we're going to start by looking at the hero, how the hero was presented in the 19th century or before the 19th century through the 19th century, the impact photography had on art, that technological change with the camera took over the role of objectivity and then freed artists to go into the realm of subjectivity. No place you see subjectivity better than Impressionism. That style is based on subjective reality rather than objective reality. And then finally, look how people are presented, common people presented in art. So the 19th century witnessed a revolution in art, moving from past heroes in a religious setting to contemporary experiences by common people in everyday life. Right? Nothing special about it. It's this worldly, not otherworldly.